Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and you're listening to Talking Downey with Mario. Welcome back, folks. This is my second show after being gone for 3 weeks, so I wanted to recap and let the residents of Downey know what happened at their council meeting last night. This is Wednesday, so that was on Tuesday. So yes, this latest council meeting. And I watched the whole show, and a couple things stand out. First of all, I love that our council is getting along. I love that they're professional. I love that they're having dialogue, even disagreements, but very respectful. I'm still kind of annoyed during the public comment section. You got that crazy Joey Martinez, I guess, sewing up signs, and somebody else yelling at Horacio for not stopping the war in Gaza. And that's the other thing. There were several people, including this Joaquin Beltran that ran for Congress, and Rudolfo, and all these people. They're mad at the city council of Downey because they haven't done a resolution to divest itself from Israel, or to stop the war in Gaza, or to do all these things on there, which I understand, are noble. Nobody likes what's going on anywhere in the world when anybody's getting hurt. But a municipality like the city of Downey, I wouldn't pass a resolution either. I think it's just, adding fuel to the fire, and I don't think it's up to local governments to do that. So our council just has been sitting on their hands, as they should be, in my opinion. They shouldn't be doing anything about it. But it's only 5 or 6 people on there, but it's still tough to be called names, and you're a baby killer, and you're this and that. A couple of them went too far, but for the majority on there, the dialogue and even the public comments are interesting. This one guy, Carlos Gomez, fighting for the Treasure Island, but he's got his facts wrong and against that Olsen Home project, and I guess he doesn't like the fact that I responded or something, but because he called me out for not being at the Planning Commission meeting, and I had been planned for 2 or 3 months not to be there. So he called me out, but he comes to public comment, and I can't do anything, but I can answer like right now. So I'm going through it. So it was nothing real controversial at the Downey City Council. The 3 things that were kind of a discussion item. The first one was about a sign ordinance. Councilwoman Dorothy Pemberton had brought up her frustration with how soon signs can go up for political purposes. This is an election year. There's going to be tons of signs. You're going to have 3 people, 3 seats running. You're going to have District 3, where Dorothy Pemberton is at now, District 1 with Councilmember Horacio Ortiz, and District 5 with Mayor Mario Trujillo. So all 3 of those districts are going to be up for election. So there's going to be opponents and candidates, and there's going to be tons of signs. So it was good to clarify it. That was always, as a candidate, you're always frustrated because you work hard to get a sign, and on the corner over there, that house that you asked permission, and then the sign gets stolen a couple of days later. So you go back to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and you ask them, can I put the sign back up? Yeah, sure. And you're excited, and it gets stolen again. And so that's a frustration thing on there. So people just have run ethical campaigns and work hard to get your signs up. It's a proven commodity, and I know this is a political operative, that signs don't win elections. Signs don't get you any votes. But from a candidate standpoint or campaign, it's kind of like, here's your way of showing that you're kind of winning. So it's kind of fun and kind of important. So we'll have signs out there. Bottom line was, there was a law that passed in 2015. You really can't restrict too much how soon the signs can go up. The filing deadline for us is in August, and one of the council members even asked, can people start putting them up in June or July? And the answer is yeah, they really can, even for a November election. We do have an ordinance that says you have to take it down 10 days after. So after the November election, you'll have 10 days to have it. I don't know what the punishment is, and they didn't clarify that. But basically, after a discussion, the city council said there's basically nothing to do. So there was a receive and file on that report. So the next one that was a little bit more heartwarming and dear to everybody's heart was about the YMCA. So the YMCA is building a $20 million a beautiful new Y that's so badly needed. I've been on the Y board for many years. I've been a fundraiser, and my family belongs to it. I was a member of the YMCA in Huntington Park when I was growing up. I learned to be a lifeguard at the YMCA. So YMCA has always been part of my life. So the YMCA is building this beautiful new YMCA that we need, because the building that we have has been closed now for several years. So the Y has been raising money. Steve Robertson, their finance campaign manager, done a fantastic job. So has everybody else. Ron Kohler, who's 88 years old and still goes to his Kiwanis meeting, is still a member here in Downey, and he donated a large amount, and it's going to be named after him. So they're a couple $1 million short. So they came to the city and asked the city to contribute $1 million. The city back in November had agreed to waive all the fees for construction, probably amounted to $300,000. In the interest of full disclosure, I am part of that board. I've been raising money for it and so forth, or helping that. I've donated, made a large contribution pledge. So they came to the city council. The council was very sympathetic because they all know the goodness of it for every single person. Ms. Pemberton had excused herself from the conversation because she's on the board along with myself. So from Councilman Ortiz, Mayor Pro Tem Sosa, Councilwoman Fermetta, and then Mayor Mario Trujillo, all very sympathetic, empathetic for it. So it kind of came up, Ms. Fermetta, Councilman Fermetta brought up that, we should look at this at the budget. You can't just throw out a number at it. The residents elected them to look at what's best for the city, and whether $1 million for that isn't better than a couple of police officers, and et cetera. She made a very sound case for being reserved, okay? And I think everybody else did too. Mayor Pro Tem Sosa kind of echoed those discussions. Let's look at things in the budget. We can't just throw out a number tonight. It didn't make sense. So Mayor Trujillo went a little bit more in the other direction. He says that, he was elected to spend the residents' money as he thought best. And he thought that the YMCA was a good investment in our future. We don't have a Boys and Girls Club in the city of Downey. Does need a YMCA, and he wanted to prioritize this. And he made a motion that we give $1 million, okay? I'm not sure if it was coming out of reserves or out of the current budget, but it's, the budget starts on July 1st. So then there was a little bit more discussion, and a couple of the councilmen says we can't do that. We should be looking at these, the budget and see where the funds. And Ms. Fermetta brought up that, we're building the Columbia Memorial Space Learning Center for our new building for our inspiration. This is city owned. Now, here's full disclosure. I sit on that board. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we're having a full day board retreat. I serve on that board with former Mayor Dr. Roger Brosmer, former Mayor Rick Rodriguez, former Mayor Alex Saab. The CEO is the CEO Notter from Financial Partners is also the board chairman. So we're volunteers, and we serve that board, and that entity obviously is owned by the city of Downey. We have $15 million towards our $25 million goal. So it seems contradictory that the city, even though it's a worthy project, oh my God, I love it. Like I said, I've put my pledge down on behalf of my family towards it. But it seems a little contradictory for the city to give money to the Y where it needs more money for the Columbia. And you say, okay, the Y is important, it serves kids and seniors and so forth. 100% agree. That's why I'm there, and I love it. The Columbia is part of STEM for our future. There's 400 kids every single day from all grades throughout Los Angeles County that come there on their field trips and are learning from STEM and learning the examples of what we need to continue in the sciences. So two different things, okay, both very important. So I can't say that one is more important than the other one. I'm definitely not going to say that that Columbia is more important than the Y, or even the Y. You can make an argument, but even the Y, and some Y board members get mad at me, including Mr. Robertson, and I won't fight with him because he's such a great man, and he's put his heart and passion into the YMCA for the past 30, 40 years. So it's important. But anyways, bottom line, it died for a lack of second from Mayor Trujillo, and they agreed to just look at it when the budget process. So that was the big discussion that they had, and I don't think it was any hard feelings. There was only 4 people there. Again, Miss Pemberton had to excuse herself. So the last thing that it was a little bit, not controversial at all, but they brought it back to see we're having our own victim of our own success sometimes, and with restaurants and bars and lounges and ones that have live entertainment. So to see what the options were for doing things that with a buffer zone, or which ones need a conditional use permit. Conditional use permit is when you allow a business to come in there with certain restrictions. Then if they violate that, you can pull their permit back or make modifications. So it's important for the city to have a little bit there on a conditional use permit. The downtown specific plan, okay, you don't need a conditional use permit if you fit within certain one of these guidelines, unless it's live entertainment. But for liquor, for restaurants, so forth. We did that on purpose. I was part of that that era, and I was on the downtown subcommittee with Dr. Brosmer when we did that, because we wanted to attract businesses and restaurants into our downtown. Remember, we had nothing for the longest time. Yeah, you could make an argument we might be a victim now of our own success with all this, but you almost want this versus not. You have the downtown DDIA, the Downtown Improvement Association, that the residents, the property owners tax themselves to hold some events, to do advertising, to keep the streets clean. So there's a lot going on in the downtown, and it is pretty vibrant. So they looked at options. They looked at options, putting a buffer zone, other places in the city, away from sensitive areas, from high schools and so forth. And I think this came up because of the Ojos Locals. Ojos Locals is probably 1,000 feet away, at least, from Downey High School. And I don't know the specifics, but it's kind of been quiet, and so far so good, I guess, and no big news, which we don't want any bad news from anybody. But they basically, the council agreed to send it back to staff and to look at, you don't want to touch the downtown specific plan because, that seems to be working for what we want. But we also want to do option 2 was to have a buffer zone in certain areas so you wouldn't get close to high schools and so forth. My only concern is sometimes you think about it, but I mean, Downey High School is right there. So there's a couple of restaurants, I don't know whether they're within 500 feet, that are not an issue with Downey High School, but I don't want to take away some of the incentives. I don't want a loud music place or a dancing or, God forbid, an adult place on there, and I don't think we would allow that. But I'm not as concerned about the students leaving. Yes, in the high school, students walk home versus elementary school, they get picked up right away, right? I'm not as worried about that because you're not going to be let into a bar. I don't care if you're 100 feet, 500 feet, or 1,000 feet. That's just not going to happen. They'd rather go to Coffee Bean or Starbucks than you would a place that serves alcohol, or, there's no entertainment going on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm all for protecting our kids, but sometimes we go a little bit overboard, but we'll see. The council's at least on the right track in thinking about it. Our city manager, Roger Bradley, said he had enough direction, and with Irma, they're going to bring it back, and we'll see. So those are the 3 main items on the Downey City Council meeting. So I wanted to bring it up and just kind of recap. And folks, the more you know about what's going on in the city, the better off you are. There's things that economic development that they're working on. I've seen the list, and maybe I'll share it with you at a future show, where the CVS was next to the Diosa restaurant. There's a list from activities, from markets that we want, from family places, from whatever. There's a long list of places there that the city is reaching out to and aggressively looking to do. So So stay tuned. Just don't think that we don't have something, that it doesn't mean that it was for a lack of a trying. I was so impressed with the list and what they're doing. By the way, last night I had a board meeting from financial partners, and we all went to Adiosa for dinner afterwards. You know, what an amazing place that they put here in the city. They invested millions of dollars in the tenants improvements, the TIs in there, and the food was exceptional. It was amazing. It's a high-end restaurant with high-end fixtures, beautiful. Service was impeccable. They do a lot of table-side things on there. So I just wanted to give them a shout-out because I had dinner there last night, and I'm still raving about it. It's good stuff. So anyways, lots of things happening in downtown Downey, lots of things happening in the city of Downey. So stay tuned. We want to make this show about information. We welcome your comments. We welcome your thoughts. My colleague and co-host, he's not my colleague, but he is my co-host. He's on the council. I'm not. Councilman Horacio Ortiz will be back. It was a scheduling situation on there, but we'll be doing another show next week. So anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I got to tell you about our sponsor. Again, the dinner was Financial Partners. Financial Partners has over 80,000 members, over $2.4 billion in assets. What a great credit union that is really involved in our community. When there's something going on, from the Space Center to the Chamber to police and fire, from all these events on there, they're always the first ones to volunteer and to do things. Gangs Out of Downey, they've been involved with that for many years. So give a shout out to our sponsor, Financial Partners Credit Union. So anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching this episode of Talking Downey. Have a great day.